Hey everyone, welcome to Mondays with Mark Allen. I will give you one guess who I am. Yeah, you got it. Anyway, this is kind of a wrap up of what's happened in the last week in triathlons, my thoughts on things. They might seem appropriate, they might seem completely inappropriate, but I figure why not say it, right? Uh, amazing weekend of racing, Ironman 70.3 U.S. Championships, St. George, Utah. Women's race, Daniela Ryf won. No, I am just kidding. She crushed. She totally crushed. And, I think a lot of people expected her to win. That's a tough expectation to live up to, as you have seen in the past. She's a multiple 70.3 world champ, Ironman world champ, and she doesn't win all the time. And so it should be never ever taken for granted when somebody like that steps up the game, comes back, and is able to just dominate a course like she did. Daniela Ryf on top of the game. Men's race, completely outrageous, one of the best finishes that I think I've ever seen. But before we get to the finish, if you were watching the live feed, you saw that Danielle Beckegaard was supposed to serve a penalty after the bike ride, some kind of penalty in the tent, sit around, let the other guys run, get out of the tent, and then you can continue on. Well, he didn't stop to serve the penalty in T2. So if you don't serve your penalty in transition, you are disqualified. So he's going to be disqualified, but he's out there running. And he and Lionel Sanders are at the front of the race, and he's pushing the pace, and he's pushing Lionel Sanders, and Lionel Sanders is benefiting from this guy who's now disqualified for not serving his penalty in T2. The announcers were kind of baffled. Michael Lovato, Didi Griesbauer, they're like, well, he's disqualified, but he's still running, and should he continue? And Lionel's sort of feeding off of his pace, and it brings up a really good question, right? So let's say you get a penalty on the bike. You can contest it. When it's all said and done, you can say, look, that wasn't me, or I wasn't drafting, or whatever it is. You can contest it, and if the judges find that yes, you have a claim, and no, you didn't need to serve that penalty, that's great. But if he's disqualified and they pull him off the course for not serving that second transition, then he never gets to finish the race, and even if he contests it and he wins, he didn't finish the race. So what should be done? Any athlete who gets a penalty on the bike has to serve that time in the tent. You got to sit it out. You continue on, you finish the race. If you feel you need to contest that penalty, you contest it after you have finished the race. And if it is overturned, then maybe they give you that time back and you end up winning the event. That did not happen. Beckegaard finally just pulled off the course. Lionel's in the lead. Sam Long comes up, and now the race is really going on because these two guys are just head to head. They're pushing it. I have seen Sam. I saw him in Daytona Beach last December with some of the best running form ever. I have seen Lionel Sanders running looking like somebody shot him in the hip. You know what I'm talking about? He's looking pretty good in this race. If you haven't seen it, there's a YouTube on video. A video on YouTube. He thinks this is easy. A video on YouTube of the last 5K of those two guys duking it out. You got to check that out. It's very raw footage, but it'll give you a real sense of what went on. They are running side by side, and as they close in on the finish, they have a couple minutes left in the race. This is what happened. Sam came in through an aid station just behind Lionel. Lionel came in first through the aid station. They're running through, and Sam grabs some stuff to drink. This is only with 2 minutes left in the race, minute and a half left in the race, right? In that moment where he went to reach, Lionel didn't reach. Lionel started to accelerate, and Sam's getting a little something to go. All of a sudden there's a gap, and Lionel is putting a gap and more of a gap and more of a gap. This is a strategy, right? You're running on fumes when you get to the end of that race, but Lionel knew that he had to make a move in that aid station, which he did. He did not take the time to take any nutrition. no calories, nothing. He gutted it out. He knew that with, whatever, a couple minutes left in the race, he's got to go for it. He did. And if you watch his face, he goes from pain to pulling it together, and pain to pulling it together, and pain to pulling it together. Is that a champion or what? I guarantee you, if you were dropped into Lionel Sanders' body at that moment, the shock of what he was experiencing would probably kill you. Amazing race. He won. Sam Long, amazing race as well. Certainly not to be discounted. 5 seconds behind Lionel. Racing is back. It's really great to see a lot of age groupers out there, a lot of folks that I coached. So happy to be able to get out there and swim and bike and run and have an actual competition. More to come. Mondays with Mark. Stay tuned. Each Monday I'm going to be putting out a little something. Sometimes it's just going to be me talking about my thoughts on what's going on. Sometimes it's just going to be kind of recapping a race like we had last weekend, because those athletes, they deserve to be honored for what they did out there. Not only the pros, but all of the age groupers who've been hanging on for about a year and a half trying to get back to racing. Great job, everybody. We'll see you next Monday.